Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. Still struggling with my hearing, so if I sound drunk or something, my apologies in advance. I was reading an article, it really made me think. It was about the disappearance of public swimming pools. Now, recently I have come across this in my own personal life. The government got the funds together to rebuild all the local recreation centers, which I think is an excellent investment. I mean, we're in a big hockey area, so I understand there's going to be lots of hockey arenas, but you can use hockey arenas for other things as well. There's handball, there's all sorts of stuff like that you can use a hockey arena for. So, given the amount of demand, I don't have a problem with that. But the swimming pools, they're getting rid of the swimming pools. And this shows how public facilities are no longer meant for the rank and file, the 99%, the bourgeoisie, the proletariat, whatever you have it, not meant for us. Even though it's public, it's not meant for us. I don't live in the world's richest area. Not the world's poorest, not the world's richest. I'd say on the socioeconomic path of, owning property, because rentals are an entirely different thing. But we're in the upper lower class. Some of us are in the lower middle class, but most of us range in between there. And there's some very nice houses that have been very carefully maintained. There's some people here that they live very well for what they do. And I have no problem with that. But most of us are like occasional golfers. We'll go out. We're not living on the golf course. We don't have memberships. I should do an episode on that, on all the scams in that. So what do they do for this mostly working class area? They tore out the swimming pool. Okay, well, basketball is becoming more popular, and a lot of things have become more popular. Nope. They put in tennis courts. That's right, tennis courts. Because who wants to go out on a hot summer evening and run around after a ball? Not me, not most kids. Now, I understand the economics behind this. Swimming pools are expensive to operate. They're expensive to keep running. You have to have specially trained people, lifeguards, and specially trained maintenance people. I used to be a lifeguard and I used to do the maintenance on my own, and oh my goodness, I can tell you got enough chemicals down there to make Al Qaeda jealous. And your job is to know what to put in, what not to, and you're still doing your lifeguard duties. And I feel sorry for the parents and the lifeguards today because kids have not gotten better or worse. But at the same token, there's a whole, you don't have the right to touch my kid, you don't have the right to do this. So as a lifeguard, you're kind of reduced until they're physically in trouble. Andy, come out of the pool. And that is completely ineffective. Whereas a tennis court, generally, you have a higher income class going in. They tend to be a little bit better behaved, and there's really not much maintenance once you set the court up. So economically, it means more money flows into the government coffers. But the problem is, sociologically, tennis courts are inherently elite. You have to belong to a certain club. You have to be able to rent the whole place out, which I don't know what it is. Last time I checked, it was like $50 for an hour. Yeah, because, the local kids have $50 in their back pockets. No problem. Whereas a swimming pool, you, me, and our friends could go to the local swimming pool, and for under $20, we can have a couple of hours of swimming laps, maybe screwing around a little bit, because I assume everybody who's listening is at least a young adult, if not an adult. And if we're younger, we could still play games. And that's what the idea of a community pool was. It was community, bringing people together. Tennis courts do the opposite. They literally have fences around them to say, hey, this area is not for you. I remember when I was a young one, they installed some new tennis courts, and it was a big thing to see who could climb the fences and get inside the tennis court, because that's where the rich people play. That's off limits. And I have no doubt the kids do the same thing today. But you see the difference. Community pool brings a community together. Even back in the 50s and 60s, once desegregation took place, or up here where it never happened at all because we never had segregation, you wouldn't care so much if you were swimming in the same water as a person of color, because you know what? We were all tanning. We were all people of color at that point. And people would meet up. By association alone, they would start to get to know each other. Oh, that's Terry. Yeah, he brings his kids down to the pool every Saturday, and we sit there and we talk about football. Now, Terry could be a white guy, a black guy, he could be an Indian guy, he could be a Chinese guy. He just goes by the name Terry. Whether his name is Terrence or whatever the heck it is, doesn't matter. But you're not forced into a socialization, but socialization is enabled. You're in an environment where everybody has a chosen activity they can talk about, the pool, their kids, and their interests, and the rest naturally flows. A tennis court does not offer those advantages. You're not talking to the other person half the time. You're busy grunting like a yak in heat. Oh, oh, oh. Yeah, nobody wants that. And swimming, I'll be honest, I haven't completely written off the aquatic ape theory as of yet, the one where at some point in our evolution we retreated to the waters for a certain amount of time. That's why we have webbed protrusions between our fingernails and feet. Now, I admit it's not wholly 100% scientific, but most people enjoy a swim in the pool. There are people with phobias of it. Although almost everybody with a phobia of the water I've talked to, there's an honest trigger point. One of my friends used to love the water until at 17, somebody thought it'd be a good idea to grab her and push her under and hold her there. Yeah, understandable why you don't want to swim. A lot of phobias do trace back to that, but there's still a lot of phobias that don't. But at least that one, you can put your finger on and say, yep, I'm not touching that one. But what we've done by a strict revenue analysis, we've enabled government facilities to make some money because tennis courts tend to be popular. It's like golf courses. You put up a golf course, you're going to tend to be booked for the rest of your natural life because even October and November, you see people out there in the snow playing golf. And seen it with my own eyes. Never tried it. I've been golfing in rain, but at the same token, golfing to me is a summer activity. Whereas a lot of pools are built so that they're usable year-round. And like I said, there's these side benefits. There's community benefits. You get swimming lessons. It's a good idea to have people and children that know how to swim because they're less likely to have problems if a situation comes up where you're drowning. Lifeguard lessons. Oh my God, you want a great career for a kid growing up, like in teens and 20s? Lifeguarding. There's always some place that's going to be hiring a lifeguard, and the money's not terrible. It's not great. It's the lowest paid profession, but at the same token, like I said, you can almost always get work, provided you're anywhere halfway decent. Well, that's not going to happen if we keep getting rid of public pools. And it shows that we are turning away from the public in general. Private pools have exploded over the past 50 years. I jokingly was toying with the idea of putting a private pool in my house. The other thing that stops me is my wife is one of those people who's afraid of water. And it would be an act of utter heartlessness for me to put in the very thing she's afraid of, at considerable expense, I might add, just so that way I could enjoy it for a few months a year. And yeah, it makes zero sense. It would not be bringing our little family together. It would be driving a wedge in it. But for reasons of the public, having pools available is such an underutilized capability. Yes, it costs more money. Yes, the return is lower because unfortunately, you're dealing with mostly people who are on the cheaper end, who can't afford pools. But you know what? They still want to go swimming. I'm not going to say it's a right. I'm not going to say it's a freedom. But you know what? It's a darn good perk. And that's something we need to consider as a society. Given that we are so insular and we're so divided, more things that bring people together are sorely needed in 2023. We spent 2020 and 2021 locked away from each other. First thing that happened when we came out, we started isolating each other from one another. No, we need activities that bring people together. Street festivals. That can be a good idea, provided you organize it, you get permits, you tell the police, all that sort of thing. Block parties. Not talking the raging keggers they used to have when we were younger, but you can still have a nice block party and, make it worth everybody's time. Garage sales. Oh my goodness. There's definitely something that people could do more of. And yeah, you get your gougers and stuff like that. But overall, I think you'll find there's a good deal to be had for everybody. Set up a little coffee stand, set up a little lemonade stand, whatever it is, make money on the side. People just show up, they're thirsty, here you go. With that, remember, community is about bringing people together. That was what I worked on whenever I worked in the public sector. Bringing community together, because if only the people that you want, those limited people, the rich people who want to get tennis, if they're the only ones coming to your recreation center, it's going to die out over time. Because at first it's, ooh, I was the first one to play on the courts there. Secondly, oh yeah, I play at the courts there. Thirdly, you still play there? Those courts, they're horrible. A pool is always a good investment, provided you maintain it, which they're the government. They have every reason to maintain it. Keep pools open. Keep public facilities open. With that, we hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please hit like, share. Don't forget to click the bell down in the comments to say you want to hear what next time that we put out a future episode. Subscribing is always welcome. Leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing. And we hope you have a fantastic day.